Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. This is going to be a reading on the shooter of the CDC buildings in Georgia on Friday. The shooter's name was Patrick Joseph White of Kennesaw, Georgia. He shot and killed a police officer, and then by the name of David Rose, and eventually was shot by police and died of his wounds. 4 buildings were targeted at the CDC campus. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. shared his condolences, saying, "We are deeply saddened by the tragic shooting at the CDC's Atlanta campus that took the life of Officer David Rose. We know how shaken our public health colleagues feel today. No one should face violence while working to protect the health of others." Now, there is some criticism here, and this is kind of where I'm going with it. But some groups criticize Kennedy, particularly over his stance of vaccine safety. Kennedy is directly responsible for the villainization of the CDC's workforce through his continuous lies about science and vaccine safety, which have fueled a climate of hostility and mistrust. This was put out by Fired But Fighting, a network of former CDC workers. I'm on board with that. Now, that's my personal bias. But when you constantly vilify the CDC and say how vaccines are unsafe, and you're defunding them, and you're questioning the sciences, and making people feel empowered by saying you can't force mask mandates or vaccine mandates on people. The person committing the shooting is a 30-year-old. We don't know his background. And the reading on this one is we're going to try and look into his motivations. But I can suggest that this is probably not a college-educated person. This is probably somebody who might be unemployed, somebody who was an anti-vaxxer, probably a conspiracy theorist, likely a pro-Trumper. It fits the pattern. Somebody who gets so angry and worked up that they're going to take their pew-pew and go over there and shoot up a building that they want to blame for their unhappiness and direct their anger towards, because they have all this anger and nobody to focus it on. So they focus it on an object, a concept, an idea. The CDC is an object. It's a symbol. And this person was likely striking out against that symbol. And words matter, Mr. Kennedy. They absolutely matter. So, Patrick Joseph White. Tell me a little bit about Patrick Joseph White, the person who shot up the CDC building, killed a police officer, and then he himself was killed. Hanged man. Absolutely. He sees things completely differently than what everybody else sees. This is like Dunning-Kruger in spades. He got a little bit of information and not only thought he was right, he knew he was right. And Trey Crowder just recently did a sketch for me saying how confident dumb people are. They don't question things. They just know that they're right. And that's what I'm getting with this. This guy knew he was right. Crossed with the 3 of Cups. He thought he would be celebrated for his actions. This is almost like Timothy McVeigh energy here. Underneath it all is the Lover's card. Yeah, going out doing God's work. He's going to be praised for this because he had the courage to do what other people are scared to do, type of thing. In the past, you got the Fool card. You're going to find in the past, he was probably a quiet person. You're going to find out like he's some quiet guy or normal guy, but then his path diverged, and you're going to find out he became more radicalized. Queen of Wands is the current situation. Leading up to it, nobody was taking action. Again, nobody had the courage to do what he did in his mind. I will qualify this. In his mind. He felt somebody needed to do something about it. So, he's going to go forward. He's going to lead the revolution. Here we go. I'm going to start the revolution. The lesson to be learned is the high priestess. He thought he knew better. And probably he was being fed stuff that made, again, Dunning-Kruger made him feel like he was smarter and wiser than anybody else in the room. That the CDC, they were holding secrets. They had all the information. They were poisoning us, the poison chalice type thing. And so he had an opportunity and he took it. Absolutely took it, but it was fool's gold. He might have had some... There could also be financial problems here, too. I doubt he was being paid to do this. Certainly that's a possibility, and the police should look into something like that. Was this guy being paid to shoot this up? And it could just be that he was trying to express his values. But, between the fool card and fool's gold, I think what he ended up doing was just foolish. For Carter, what was his main motivation for shooting up the CDC building? What was his main motivation, or who was his main motivation? Is this something that Kennedy said that resonated with him? Is this vaccine mandates? Is this, anti-government sentiment? Is this they're trying to poison me? Is this guy just mentally ill? 4 of Cups. I think he maybe had an emotional breakdown. Remember that Queen of Wands that was over here? He knew somebody to take action, so he was taking action here. King of Pentacles. Wealthy, powerful men are motivating him. Somebody of wealth, power, influence was motivating this fellow. Strength card. Yeah. And the Ace of Swords. Yeah, he felt justified. This is a crusade for him. He emotionally snapped. Some wealthy, powerful person said or did something that caused him to react, and that somebody needed to do something. He feels like he's a crusader, just like we had that Knight of Swords over there. You're going to find if he had left a suicide note or social media posts, you're going to find that this guy thought of himself as a crusader, as a patriot, that the CDC was this evil organization, Death Star type thing, and he was going to be the good guy with the gun that was going to go in there and change the world. Instead, he's a cop killer. Back the blue crowd and all that. Does Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Bear responsibility for this man's actions through his words, policies, or deeds? Knight of Cups. Probably through his... yes, I'm going to say yes on that one. It's like he enabled this. Heartbreak and betrayal. Yeah, to me, this is a yes card. This is... Kennedy was saying and coming across... This guy looked at Kennedy in a friendly manner, and Kennedy was saying how, you can't trust these government studies and stuff like that as a betrayal. And that's what caused this guy to snap. It's the broadcasting. It's the messaging from Kennedy. So the answer is yes. Kennedy has stuff to do with that. And this has everything to do with saying vaccines are toxic. That is absolutely what this is. The poisoning of the American blood with these vaccines. Somebody needed to do something, and Kennedy can only do so much. High Priestess. Kennedy should know better. And that's the thing. The brainworm in this guy's freaking mind is preventing him from seeing how his words, his actions, his deeds are impacting people. Again, Dunning-Kruger. Lesson to be learned is the moon card. Yeah, because, okay, so a reasonably intelligent person with some critical thinking skills and logic skills isn't going to go shooting things up. But what about the crazy person? What about the person who's already on the brink, if not past the brink? COVID broke so many people's minds. And we've seen the videos of it. People having meltdowns and tantrums in the store because they were told to mask up, that sort of thing. This guy was just, he broke. His mind absolutely broke. Out comes the World card. I'd love to say this is going to be the last time this happens, but I think it's more the worldwide aspect of it. That this is kind of the natural consequence of spreading misinformation about vaccines being toxic. You're causing people to want to take action when they don't know all the facts, and they're not smart enough to realize they don't know anything. But they're just crazy enough to try and bring things to an end. It's funny. Vaccines save lives, and this guy goes to the vaccine place to end lives. Literally to undo what it is with what vaccines are supposed to be doing. All right, for Carter Spirit, is there anything else you would like us to know about the shooter and this situation? We will find out more about this. It's inevitable we're going to find out more. Police will look at the social media of the shooter and stuff like that. But yeah, it's almost too. I would be surprised to find out. I would be stunned to find out that this person was a Democrat who supported the CDC, who was woke. You know, it's none of that. To get so angry at the Centers of Disease Control to shoot up the building shows somebody who's mentally disturbed and is triggered by something that would cause them to want to strike out against this symbol. Now, could it be somebody who lost a loved one and they blame the CDC? Yeah, that's a possibility. But it just seems like it's more than that, or a bigger symbol than that. For Carter, what else should we know about this? Ace of Pentacles. I don't think it's about money. I think it's about values. And here's the thing. Values and health. And it could be mental health, emotional health. We might be repeating this if we don't solve this part of the problem. That's what Spirit's saying. This is a health issue, and we better start addressing it, or else we're going to get to repeat that until it's done. And it's about the messaging. So that already tells me right now, Kennedy better start working on his messaging and the impact it has. Six of Swords. We might calm down for a little bit, but now when you talk about women and children and stuff like that, you know, the next one could be, again, at a like a women's health clinic or something along those lines. I say women's health clinic because this is going to be a woman and a child. And so like Planned Parenthood would be like the vilification of Planned Parenthood. We could see something repeat like that if the messaging isn't changed. Yeah, it's a matter of time. The High Priestess. Yeah, you've got to stop messaging and for the folks that aren't smart enough, Dunning-Kruger's, the ones that get a little bit of information, think they know everything. You've got to be careful with them because their mental health, it basically is like, I can fix this problem. I know how to fix this problem. The messaging, and then it's just a matter of time. It's going to happen again. Because I don't see Kennedy changing his mind. Dude is an arrogant, narcissistic, 70-year-old plus pile of crap who, because he has Kennedy as a last name, gets way more attention and way more respect than he deserves. And I think Kennedy has gone off the deep end mentally. And his rhetoric is attracting like-minded people to do stupid, like-minded things. For Carter, will Kennedy learn? Will Kennedy stop? Will Kennedy understand that his messaging is key to something like this? God, I hope his wife sits down and has a good yell at him. This is the time for his wife to step up. Sit him down gently and then scream in his face so that if his ears aren't working, the words still penetrate his facial skin and his bones and penetrate into his head through sheer sound waves. Because I don't suspect you can reason or logic with this guy. Again, too old, too arrogant, too stubborn, too I'm right and you're wrong type thing. That's the vibe I get from this guy. Will Kennedy learn? I mean, I'm telling you right now, he's not going to. But, you know, maybe people dying is enough to get through to him to understand the power his words have. Five of Swords, winning and losing. No compromise. I think right there. No compromise. Queen of Pentacles. Women's health, abortion, health-related issues, kitchen table issues, the manifestation, words matter. King of Cups, control of emotions, and the Two of Cups. There's a possibility. There's a possibility he understands that he manifested this. He has the ability to protect people as a leader. I will look. I want to look to see what Kennedy does over the next few, over the next week or two as this issue comes up. Because this could just be him doubling down. You know, this is my crusade. This is what I want. I'm concerned about people's health. And I'm going to stay the course. Because people on both sides agree with me on this one. These cards could be incredibly positive. I have a negative opinion on him, so I don't necessarily see it being this way. You know what this is? This is an opportunity for him. This is a... Good Lord. Two men dead is the opportunity that's being given to Kennedy to change his narcissistic outlook and maybe start listening to people and understanding how divisive he is instead of uniting he is. So it's not answering me if he will do this or not, because that's his choice. What it's telling me is this is a wake-up call for him. He has an opportunity to make a difference. Will he choose that path? His actions, his words and deeds will let us know. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.